primarily the management. They have developed an emotional bond with certain players, and we don't see too much of movement in those emotional bonds.
So, who are some key players that we're looking, at this mini auction that's coming up?
The primary objective of heading into the auction, which is the ideal objective for any franchise, is to have a little bit of purse should they wish to go big on one player in the 10 to 12 bracket, and to have enough money to create substantial backups.
Hello and welcome to the Hindus in Focus podcast. I'm your host, Reuben Joe Joseph. It's been 5 months since Bengaluru Royal Challengers won its first ever IPL title, and we're about 4 odd months away from the 2026 IPL season. So, a perfect midway point between two seasons to have us hooked on off field business, namely the retentions, transfers, gossip, and even the mini auction. So, a quick recap: the deadline for IPL teams to submit their list of retained players ended on November 15th. This is ahead of the December 16th auction for the 2026 IPL season. We had a number of notable players being swapped and released, with the focus on teams like KKR and CSK, who will be looking to bolster their squads at the upcoming auction. Andre Russell, Venkatesh Iyer, Glenn Maxwell, David Miller, Ravi Bishnoi were all released, but we were also treated to some surprising trades, such as Sanju Samson moving to CSK in exchange for all-rounders Ravindra Jadeja and Sam Curran, while Mohammad Shami moved to Lucknow Super Giants. To discuss team strategies and give us a preview ahead of next month's auction, we have with us today Amol Karhadkar, the Hindu's ace cricket reporter, who will help us today draw our minds off that embarrassing test match loss at Eden Gardens. Amol, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks a lot, Ruben. Thanks for bringing up the test match loss, and if you want to add the November 19 bit also.
Let's start with an overview of this, the retentions and the whole IPL trades that are happening. Amol, which teams have released the most players or the least players, and which teams seem to be having the upper hand at this stage of the transfers?
Ruben, one of the jokes that goes on around, not just in the IPL fraternity, but even among fans, is for two teams, most mini auctions are also mega auctions. Conventionally, they are Punjab Kings, the erstwhile Kings 11 Punjab, and Delhi Daredevils turned Delhi Capitals. This time around, the tide seems to have turned. Punjab Kings look like the most settled outfield. Delhi Capitals have one primary gap to fill, whereas, like you said in your intro, Chennai Super Kings and Kolkata Knight Riders look like 2026's Punjab Kings and Delhi Capitals, because they are in for a near overall. KKR and CSK, a lot of franchises are happy with that sort of a purse heading into a auction proper. Here for a mini auction, one team has 64 odd crores, the other has 52 crore. How they utilize it, that's going to be the key, because to inflate the purse seemed to be their primary objective, at least when it came to some of the big releases.
Right. So, like you mentioned, CSK has 43 crore remaining in its purse, and Kolkata Knight Riders have 64 crore. I think the least among all the teams is Mumbai Indians, which has only about 2.75 crore. I think they'll be barely active in the auction. But, what are some trends worth noting in the retentions this?
The biggest trend from my perspective is, despite all that is being touted as every team being one family, it's like a typical Indian masala film set, right? What we watch in behind the scenes at the time of the release, how they were a close knit family. Something similar is observed when it comes to IPL franchises. Moreover, the owners, primarily the management, they have developed an emotional bond with certain players, and we don't see too much of movement in those emotional bonds between two mega auctions. This time around, they have been cutthroat. Be it Ravindra Jadeja, Sanju Samson swap, primarily Ravindra Jadeja, or you take Andre Russell's example. There was a lot of discussion in the last two seasons, even at the time of mega auction, that whether it's time to move on from Russell, but they didn't. Here, after the first year of a new cycle, they have done away with Russell. That speaks quite a lot.
And like you mentioned, the big trade was there this time, of Samson going to CSK for Jadeja plus Sam Curran. Who among these two teams got the better deal in this whole saga?
I think we should be able to tell this vividly at the end of May, possibly. But I feel, see, from both the teams' perspectives, it's again because Samson and Rajasthan Royals had reached its expiry date towards the end of the last season itself. Samson not being with Rajasthan Royals was expected. Who does Samson go to? Who finally manages to get Samson's hold? Was the big question since the IPL got over in June. Okay. So in that respect, Chennai Super Kings have seemed to have hit a jackpot, especially since Sanju Samson fits that CSK bill perfectly. Someone who is experienced, something that they rely heavily on when it comes to India's internationals. Hardly will you see, at least so far, CSK having invested in an Indian capped player who is raw. Okay, they want that tried and tested players. So Samson fits the bill. Should they look for a captaincy change? Should Ruturaj Gayakwad's stint not bear fruits even in 2026? They have a ready-made captain waiting, right? And that top order, which appeared to be a problem for them over the last couple of seasons, Samson will be able to fill that hole also. So in that sense, it's a win-win for CSK. For Rajasthan Royals, Ravindra Jadeja, if at all he is given captaincy, which is quite likely right now, could just be a stopgap arrangement for one or two editions to begin with. Yes, we have seen, as we are seeing a 45-year-old turning up in IPL now. So to say that Jadeja or a Rohit Sharma or a Virat Kohli are at the fag end of their IPL careers would be an overstatement, right? So, but at least for the next couple of years, with a new head coach stepping in, Rajasthan Royals have a full revamp outside the field, and that has started reflecting in their trade strategy. Starting with Jadeja, then they let go of Nitish Rana, which is not spoken about too much, but that is also big in some ways when it comes to the trade cycle. So if Jadeja is given captaincy, and Sam Curran and Jadeja anyway have worked with each other for at CSK, I think I don't know, but let's not forget both these teams have consistently underperformed in the recent past. So if any of them manages to qualify, that will be a huge achievement rather than going all the way anyway.
Right, right. And why was this the whole, why was Rajasthan trying to offload Samson in the first place? Is there something more that you can tell us about that?
See, nothing has been said in the official domain, but the murmurs of Samson possibly being unhappy had started in the latter half of the previous season when he played only as an impact player due to an injury that he was carrying. So it was being murmured that he wasn't happy entirely over there. If you ask either the player or the franchise, uh, since he has been associated with them for more than a decade, the manner in which Rajasthan Royals have bid farewell to him is just okay. They've ended it on that cordial note, right? But not everything was hunky dory. Possibly Rahul Dravid not being around as the head coach also made it easier for Samson to make up his mind.
Right now, yeah, like you mentioned earlier, the spotlight is also now on the two teams, CSK and KKR, that are going for sort of a revamp of sorts. They've made sweeping changes. So, what are these two teams, going for? You mentioned that CSK, in bringing Samsung, has brought a good top order batsman and also has a long term captain replacement if Ruturaj Gaikwad doesn't click. But what about the other changes that the team has made? What is CSK going for, and what is KKR also going for in releasing someone like Venkatesh Iyer, for that matter?
So, especially as in to begin with, if we talk about CSK, they have 9 slots available, a maximum of 9 slots. Everyone, I am just assuming that most of the IPL fans now know that each squad strength can be up to 25 players, minimum of 18, maximum of 25. Not more than 8 can be overseas players. So in that regard, CSK have 9 slots remaining. They can get up to 4 overseas players. I personally feel that they might try and go for price correction when it comes to Matisha Patirana. Otherwise, as in I have a feeling that Patirana's release was more to create that additional purse rather than letting go of him or looking beyond him. Yes, he has had a slump in form, but since they have invested heavily in him, I would be surprised if they just let go of him completely. Okay. Besides that, so obviously that one overseas pacer, someone who can be a handy finisher, the death over pacer primarily would be on their radar. Besides Samson, they would also be looking at least one Indian solid middle order batter. The good thing from CSK's perspective is despite letting go of so many players, mostly Indian, they still look like their starting 12 is three-fourth full. They have 8 or 9 slots that are sealed right now. But to create strong backups was another challenge for CSK because most of their players, even during the trade cycle, even if they were, because CSK are not comfortable going into the auction with a bigger pool. They want trades. But this time around, the franchises were asking for players in return rather than cash. And CSK didn't have inform or solid players to offer. That's why they could actually go through only the Samson trade in exchange of two of their main players. Uh, for others, however hard they tried to get in some of the Indian all rounders who have been associated with the region, but somehow it did not work out because the franchises did not want cash. So, in that respect, a solid Indian batter, if possible, an Indian all rounder, a spinner to complement Noor Ahmed, because Shreyas Gopal is someone that they can try out. He is seasoned, who's already around with them, but I don't know whether they'll rely solely on Shreyas Gopal for the whole season. And the overseas pacer, the death over specialist. They are the primary gaps to fill from my perspective.
And KKR also, like you mentioned, price correction, right, is something that CSK might be going with when it comes to Patirana. And I think with Venkatesh Iyer also, that's a similar strategy that KKR is probably going for.
Yes, but Venkatesh Iyer could be one of the hottest picks yet again in the auction because let's not forget in 2025 in Jeddah, the franchise that went all the way to bid for Venkatesh Iyer till KKR had that winning bid was 23.75 crore. Who was the other franchise? It was RCB. And RCB does have considerable spurs to actually go for him again should they wish. So Venkatesh Iyer would be a difficult proposition to get their hold on. But even if they can get Venkatesh Iyer at two-thirds of last year's price, I think it would serve the purpose of both of the franchise, more importantly for the player. Because the price tag pressure, howsoever everyone tries to shy away from it, let's face it, it's a reality in IPL, especially for Indian players. Okay. Because whatever they do know is not enough. And wherever they go, it's like that India Pakistan bit of the 1990s. Wherever Indian team went, they were told by the waiter, by the cabbie, by the bus driver, to do anything but don't lose to Pakistan. It's the same with price tag. Even if you have scored a 10 ball 50 or you have taken a hat trick, all that you are spoken to is about your price tag. Okay. So that does get to players. So in that regard, Venkatesh Iyer will obviously be on their radar. The big catch is who do they replace Andre Russell with? Should they go for Cam Green? But if it that and that's where the auction dynamics come in. If Cam Green goes first, goes ahead of Venkatesh Iyer, they might end up having lesser purse for Venkatesh Iyer, right? But I feel someone like Cam Green would be on KKR's radar, and they also have to sort out their Indian batting here. It's a problem. Yes, It looks like they might go with Ajinkya Rahane unless and until they get a better option to lead the team. But I feel with the new coach Abhishek Nair taking over, he has been involved with KKR earlier. But since he is at the helm of affairs now, it will be interesting to see whether he actually prefers some of the younger Indian talent that he has been heavily associated with while working in his personal capacity. Someone like Ankrish Raghuvanshi is Ankrish is Nair's protege. So if he can actually invest in some of the similar talent, or he prefers a tried and tested way, that will have to.
Right, right. And let's talk about, champions, Royal Challengers Bangalore. Like you mentioned, they had fought all the way for, Venkatesh Iyer last time, and he was napped by KKR. And you said that they could be going for him again, is it? But they seem to have a set 11 already, isn't it?
Yes. And see, so RCB's auction is primarily about creating one solid overseas option or Venkatesh Iyer. That Livingston replacement, if we see, but Livingston was replaced with Romario Shepherd in the squad as that all-rounder slot, and Romario Shepherd did come good, right? So that's not a must for them. They have 16 odd crores, 16.4. They have two overseas slots remaining. So for them, the primary objective of heading into the auction, which is the ideal objective for any franchise, is to have a little bit of purse should they wish to go big on one player. Okay, in the 10 to 12 bracket, and to have enough money to create substantial backups. So six Indians, whether they fill those six slots doesn't matter. Even if they get three or four, they have to be solid backups, because nowadays IPL franchises have stopped, like what CSK have indicated in the released list. It's not about grooming talent any longer. It's about signing those who are ready to be blooded into the 11 or 12 now. Okay. So in that respect, if RCB can get three or four solid Indian backups, they'll be sorted.
Right, right. And then we have the case of Mumbai Indians, which is probably going to be silent for most of this auction. How are they going into this? They were also, in the top four last time, and now they've retained a lot of their players, but they also made a lot of they made a lot of very important trades. So how are they going into this auction?
Yes, Mumbai Indians have got it right when it comes to the trade market, right? They wanted those two positions filled in, a pace bowling all rounder, a seasoned pace bowling all rounder, who might come in handy should they need an option beyond Deepak Chahar. Shardul Thakur fits the bill. Someone who knows Wankhede in and out, uh, someone who is acquainted not just with conditions but with most of the players. The setup, everyone knows him well, and he can deliver. And Sherfani Rutherford, that could well end up being a steal. But how could Gujarat Titans, who had him for in their 11 for most of the last season, how could they let go of him at such a low price? One of the reasons could be his recent form. Okay, his recent form is terrible in international cricket. Mumbai Indians would be hoping that in the next 4 months he can actually turn the tire around. But Rutherford at Wankhede, especially at Wankhede for those 7 in home games, can be a trump card. But otherwise, Mumbai Indians, when it comes to auction strategy, even if half of their table takes off from Mumbai around the time the auction is starting on December 16 in Abu Dhabi, they can still reach by the end of the auction when they have to get the real game going, and possibly live up to their reputation of unearthing unknown domestic talent. But they have let go of some of those domestic talents that they have tried.
Yeah, snap up a few youngsters and kind of make them work. Yeah, that's true. Then we also have the case of the last year's finalists, Punjab Kings, which also has retained most of its players, but they did release Glenn Maxwell, which is sort of the end of an era for this explosive Aussie. Um, Is it something that is Maxwell someone that other teams are going to be eyeing now, even though he's older? But how is Punjab Kings taking this decision? What are they looking at?
Punjab Kings, like uh, how they have turned the tide, just imagine. They have the least number of slots available. They have the most players on roster. That effectively means 21 players they already have. So even if they do not sign anyone, they are sorted. Releasing Maxwell was again an example of how uh, cutthroat the IPL system has become, because Ricky Ponting shares a thick bond with Glenn Maxwell. He has tried to take Glenn Maxwell everywhere he has been. Okay, and even last year, Maxwell the bowler delivered. Maxwell the finisher did not really, but Maxwell the off spinner was superb. But since they are primarily looking at that overseas player as a finisher, uh, they seem to have let go of Maxwell. The bigger surprise was English, but later on it was clarified that Josh English is getting married, so he is hardly available for IPL 2026. And it was gracious of him to actually convey it to the franchise just in time before the retention deadline. They seem to be putting more thrust on Mitch Owen, a relatively unknown talent for the IPL ecosystem, but do watch out for him.
Yeah, that would be interesting to watch Punjab Kings. So, who are some some key players that we're looking at this mini auction that's coming up? You said like it's almost become like the mega auction now, but it's still a lot of interest in it because there are still quite a few important players and important deals to be made. So, who are some key players that we can watch out for in this mini auction?
I feel besides the usual suspects that we have discussed or touched upon, be it Russell, be it Venkatesh Iyer, be it Patirana, I think Cameron Green will be a big draw this time around again. Cameron Green is emerging to be the new uh, highlight for the mini auction. But Cam Green is sure to go big this time around, uh, because we have seen that trend of pace bowling all rounders being the toast when it comes to mini auctions. And since not just two, in this case, four franchises can go real big on him, uh, I feel Cameron Green is an obvious choice. Besides that, you mentioned Johnny Bairstow having been retained. He's not, but he was with Mumbai Indians in that last window where the players could not be retained. Johnny Bairstow, now that he is a T20 freelancer, largely he's done with international cricket, uh, could be a big draw because a couple of franchises do have those wicketkeeper batter slot. I have a feeling among the relatively unknowns, like how Jacob Bethel was not so well known to Indian fans last time around, Jordan Cox, we should watch out for him. He has been doing really well in the 100, and he is someone that a lot of franchises might look at, possibly Delhi Capitals or someone like that. Besides that, obviously, since at least half the teams in need of that overseas pacer, the likes of Jason Berendorf, even Spencer Johnson, they might be in demand. Okay, the left arm pacers, they might be in demand. Jason Berendorf is quite a known name to IPL fans. Spencer Johnson also. Both of them, along with possibly even the right arm pacers like Jaden Seals, if someone goes for him, I will not be surprised.
Right. And who do you think is going to snap up Andre Russell over here? Because there have been rumors of possibly CSK or someone who might go for him. The big man who's going to go for him? Who do you think?
So if CSK, in its bid to revamp the team, adds a 38-year-old to a 45-year-old, the combined age of the two oldest players would be almost as much as the age of BCCI, let alone IPL. Okay, okay. So you never know. CSK might go for him, but I have a feeling with the sudden love affair between the Delhi Capitals, as he has recently switched to the capital setup for the South Africa League. Okay, is that an indication? I'm just thinking aloud. I have not been fed any information, concrete information on it so far. I'm just thinking aloud whether, because let's not forget, Andre Russell was a Delhi Daredevils player before he became a Knight Rider. So it's like just like how Jadeja's homecoming is being celebrated, whether we'll end up celebrating Russell's homecoming. But my point is, if CSK want him, there is going to be no one stopping them to go for Andre Russell. The key is whether they want him and whether they are confident enough that he will last two full seasons of IPL on both the counts, the bowling and batting fitness. So that is what will be the key from CS perspective.
And finally, we will be having the auction next month. And then what happens after that? Can teams give us a little bit of clarity of, can teams still pull a few players? What happens before the IPL season starts?
Right. So that's a good one to wrap up on. Let's be very clear. Even before the auction, the purse could change, and I will not be surprised because there was a lot of last minute, last ditch efforts in to actually get some more players by three or four franchises. The trading window is on even now. November 15 was the retention window, but trading window continues till December 9, 1 week before the auction. So even now the trades can effectively take place. December 9 to December 16, there is a freeze. The trading window reopens on December 17, goes on till 1 month prior to the start of IPL. Okay. 30 days before the start of IPL is the lock-in period. The only catch for the post-auction trading window is players who are bought in the auction cannot be traded.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good place, I think, to end this conversation also. And I think we have a lot to see now in the upcoming auction, even though, like you said, it's no longer a mini auction of sorts. It'll be an interesting season also. And as we continue with this in the Test series season now, let's hope there's some more joy for us Indian fans in the ongoing Test series, and also some entertainment to come in the upcoming auction. Thank you so much, Amol, for sharing your insights today, and we hope to speak to you again soon.
Always a pleasure, Reuben. Anytime.